Welcome everybody out there in the Game Blurb universe. I hope everyone's in for a special episode. Hope you prepared yourself. What are you saying over there, Donkey Kong? What are you playing? What have you got on the go? Oh, a bit of Game Boy Color. Oh, I recognise this. Pit Fighter on the original Game Boy. Look at you, Donkey, mixing it up. Game Boy Color and original Game Boy. So what we got in store for everyone today, Mr. Kong? Monkey Kong, as they like to call you back in the days. Right, what we've got a closer look at the collection. Yes, that's right, we have. Yes, right, okay. Shall we do it? Yeah, let's do it. Alright, so we're not actually in the studio. We're going to enter there now, and we're going to just have a closer look at what we could be game blurbing in the future. Some of the consoles. Well, I've got a list of some of the dates these motherfuckers were released. So we're just gonna whiz around. We'll start down here. So we've got these old motherfuckers. The Commodore 64. This came out in 1982. The Commodore Amiga 1985. So that's some of your older ones that you play the cassette tape games on. And then, just whizzing past these Tony Hawk things, let's go straight to the top, to the Sinclair Zx Spectrum. It's pretty UK or European based, but there we've got the ZX81, which came out in, surprise, surprise, 1981, and next to it, the ZX Spectrum 16K to 48K, which came out in 82. Feeling very official here with this list of dates. Alright, and then over here, these couple of boxes. One's like a retail box and one's like some super special standard box. The ZX Spectrum Pluses, they came out in 1984. And then it was bought out by Amstrad. And then they had like the cassette tape built into it. Oh, was focusing in and out. Should I get a bit closer? Yeah. So they came out in 1986, the year of my birth. What a great year that was. Brilliant, yeah. And then we have like this remake up top, which I think came out in, I don't know, 2018. That one's not on my list. Oh, and let's not forget the bottom box. After we had the cassette tapes, Amstrad kind of did a version where you could put floppy disks in. And that's the ZX Spectrum Plus 3, which came out in 1987. Moving on to what I would call the modern day era, the Sony era. So what we've got over here, we've got the bottom three, which are the original PlayStations. PlayStation 1s came out in 94, and then the one second to top there is the official PS1, which is the mini version, came out in the year 2000. That top one, which is a PlayStation Classic, I think 2000, and just below the Spectrums, 2018. Then we go on to the PS2. This is a classic system for a lot of people, but I was still all about that Nintendo business back then. The PS2, they originally came out in the year 2000, and Slims that are up at the top, 2004. I'm not sure about the pink Slim though. Then we go on to a bit of PS3, PlayStation 3. So these big ones here, they came out in 2006. And then next along, the PS3 Slim came out in 2009, and then the one after that, the PS3 Super Slim, 2012. And then we go on to what is probably my most modern console that I've got, the PS4. And the PS4 came out in 2013. Now all you motherfuckers are on that number 5. Fuck you guys. And then we have the revolutionary shit, new to the game console wars, the Microsoft Xbox. So the original Xbox in the UK came out in 2002. I think the Crystal one came out in a couple of years after, in 2004. I remember buying one of them pretty much at the time they came out. And then moving on to the console that's probably got the most variations out of any console ever. I'm going out on a limb saying that, but damn, there was a lot of variations. The Xbox 360 originally came out in 2005. Then we had the Xbox Elite, came out in 2007. And then the Xbox 360 Slim, 2010. The Xbox 360E, 2013, and then there's like a Connect version that came out in 2012. Now, for the record, I'll just say that's an empty Xbox One box, so I'm not even going to cover that. And we're going to move on to what is, for a lot of people, an all-time favourite, the Atari. Sorry about the glare here. So we'll try and get through these. So the Atari, the original video game computer, or whatever it's called, video computer system. The VCS, that came out in 1977, the Atari 2600, in other words. It was some breakthrough shit. The top one, which was the next version I think that came out, was known as the Darth Vader version, the black Atari 2600. That came out in 1982, a bit of a revamp. And then moving on to the Atari Juniors, which essentially were the same but smaller version of the Atari 2600. They came out the year of my birth. What a great year. 1986. All hail the year of the Atari Junior. But also the year of the Atari 7800. That was also 1986, but it never quite did as well as the 2600s. So let's get out of this glare for now and come down to these Atari Flashbacks, which, to be honest, they're all very similar. They're all very similar. These came out between 2004 and 2019. They're probably still coming out, although there has just been a brand new Atari kind of remake thing that's just been released. So, right, moving on to one of the all-time classic retro ones, and that is Sega. So first off, we've got the Sega Master System, which came out in 1987 in Europe, but in 85 in Japan. We've got a few different versions. The Sega Master System 2, that came out in 1990. And then moving on to the Mega Drive, we've got the Mega Drive 1s here. The Mega Drive 1 came out in 1990, 1988 in Japan, but 1990 in Europe. And then we've got the Mega Drive. Where's the Mega Drive 2? Here we go. The Mega Drive 2 was released in 93 in Europe. And then if anybody remembers, I remember my favourite add-on to anything, the Mega CD and the Mega CD 2. So they both came out in 1993 to join on to their respective Mega Drives. Brilliant Mega CDs. But then, well, before we get to their actual CD drive, let's just go up here and have a look at the Game Gear. I have no idea when these shitty little handhelds came out. There's hundreds of them, hundreds of different types, and they probably all came out in the 2010s to now. Probably still coming out. But the Sega Game Gear, which was a brilliant handheld, just for the backlight, Those controversial motherfuckers out there who prefer columns over Tetris. It's not a surprise when you can play that shit in the dark. That came out in 1991 in Europe, but 1990 in Japan. And then we'll get to the first Sega. The first Sega. Oh, hello, Donkey. How's it going, mate? You feel like I'm getting in on this action. We'll get to the first Sega official disc drive consoles, and that was the Sega Saturn. That came out in 1995 in Europe, 94 in Japan. I loved the Sega Saturn. I didn't have it when it first come out, but I got it at some point afterwards. But what I did have when it first came out was the Sega Dreamcast. Yes, motherfuckers, this shit was dope as fuck. Believe me. It came out in 1999 over here, and I think I might have I think I got it for Christmas, maybe with Soul Calibur and House of the Dead, or some House of the Dead 2, some shit like that. Came out in 1998 in Japan. Right, so there's Sega's. I don't know what year that Master System converter came out, but probably somewhere 92, 93. Let's move on to the best of all, the Nintendo. Oh, and Risk. Risk's in there. Well, it's probably good to know that Risk came out in 1959 for all you game board enthusiasts. So, Nintendo, let's start down here. with, on this side, the Game Boys. So the original Game Boy came out in 1989. Big grey motherfucker. I think there was a few different variant colours that you could get. Maybe a big yellow one, big black one maybe. The Game Boy Pocket, the smaller version, that came out in like almost 10 years later in 1998. That was obviously a big step forward, being able to put a Game Boy in your pocket. The Game Boy Color. Have I got Game Boy Color on my list? I should have. Well, let's just move on to the Game Boy Advanced. Came out in 2001, and I remember I got the Game Boy Color when it first came out. So that was probably around, I don't know, it must have been 99 or so. But the Game Boy Advance I also got when it first came out, and that was pretty mind-blowing, playing like the Final Fantasy game, the Final Fight game on there. Some bad motherfucking shit. But also playing on Street Fighter Alpha 3. That was dope, man. Completed it with everyone just to get the special Akuma or the special Ryu. Yeah. So yeah, 2001, and the SP, Game Boy Advance SP, came out in like 2003. Oh, and the Game Boy Micro, which really is it's a bit of a shitty one, that pink one there, came out in 2006. And then we get on to the kind of DS era, moving kind of all the way over to the other side. So just whiz through the Nintendo DS's. The original came out in 2004, and then we had the DSi in 2008, the DSi Extra Large in 2010 in Europe. Oh, and in between there somewhere, the DS Lite in 2006. That was the one that kind of was the first smooth model after the original DS. And just on top there, the Mario Game & Watch, like 30th anniversary or so, that came out in the year 2012. Yes, indeed. So moving on to those home consoles of legendary status. Okay, so first off, we've got, just tucked away up here, is the Nintendo Entertainment System. Came out in 1983, some revolutionary shit. And then 7 years later, in 1990, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, better known as the SNES, came out. So yeah, the 3 boxes or so next to it in 1990. It's probably worth throwing in the NES Mini up top, and the SNES Mini came out in 2016 and 2017. And then after the Super Nintendo, we had the 1996 Nintendo 64. Come on, there's not one gamer out there who doesn't appreciate the Nintendo 64. You already know what games, I know what games you're thinking of, all of them. And obviously the top of your list for all of those games is obviously Blast Corps. Obviously, clearly, definitely. Right. GBMers, let's finish this. Let's finish this with a GBMers. Let's finish with a GCer. So the Nintendo GameCube came out in 2001. I got the Platinum one because my brother at the time worked at Game Station, so he got me the Platinum one, and he also got me the Clear Xbox, which was great because they sat next to my silver PS2. Yeah, very good. I can remember having all of them and being so very proud. And then after the Nintendo GameCube, we had the absolutely revolutionary system, which was the Nintendo Wii. So revolutionary, it broke more tellies than any game console ever. That's a pretty good feat, but all of that fucking Wii Remote Motion Plus shit was pretty futuristic, and that came out in 2006. And then the Wii Mini up there, 6 years later, came out in 2012. But at the same time, a lesser known and probably underappreciated, under-marketed console came out in 2012, and that was the Nintendo Wii U, which had like the tablet and shit like that, which was it was the first to kind of utilize a tablet in that way. We did have the thing with the GameCube where you could plug the Game Boy Advanced in and play like Zelda 4 Swords. That was pretty good. But on the Wii U, you had the tablet where you could fucking download apps and shit like that and play with it as a controller. So yeah, they kind of missed out on marketing that one. And then we have what is our last console on the list, and it doesn't even have its official name on it. It just has the company name, which is Nintendo. But I will introduce you all to the Nintendo Switch, which came out in 2017. So there we have it. We've got that's all my consoles that are in my room. So there are more consoles lurking around in places in the house, most certainly. But that's definitely everything that's in the house. What I'll say is, once we get to say, let's say 50 episodes, I'll open these cupboards and we'll have a deep dive into the wardrobes. We'll have a deep dive into the wardrobes and see what's going on there. Oh hello, donkey. Won't we? Once we get to 50 episodes, and maybe, let's say maybe, if we can get to 250 episodes, that's a pretty good benchmark. I might even go into my loft, see what's in that spot. You might be pleasantly surprised. So, guys, let me take a sip of my brew and say thank you, motherfuckers, for this. It's been my longest video so far. Slightly informative for you. Hopefully it'll show you some of the shit we've got to come, because we can go through all of these boxes, read the blurbs out on them, have a bit of fun with that shit. Sorry if the camera's been focusing in and out a little bit too much. Maybe something I should improve upon, get a better camera. Sounds like a good idea. Right, guys, like, subscribe, comment, do all that good business. I thank you very much for sticking with me on this occasion. It's quite a bit longer than any other video, so thank you very much, and peace out to everybody out there in Gameland. Peace.